Hello, everyone, and welcome back again. This is going to be the second part to my original video, which was breaking down the human head. In that video, we broke it down using the Loomis method. We're going to do that again today, but the difference being we broke down the front-facing head only, whereas today we're going to be doing the head from different angles. I want to cover how to do that. If you haven't already, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. Any feedback helps, and not only helps like getting views, but also helps me know what people are wanting to learn. And so let's jump right into it. First, you tend to see a lot of artists like this. They will immediately start drawing a face. They'll just jump right into it. There's not a good underlying structure, and we're speaking about new artists specifically here. There's not a lot of good underlying structure to their head, and they might be good at certain features. Maybe they've copied a manga or a comic book or whatever their favorite artist or art style might be, and it ends up looking kind of wonky like that. So what we're trying to do today is really uncover the structure of the head once again, and how to spin it and turn it to different angles. So like I said, we're using the Loomis method here. Andrew Loomis popularized this method. I actually don't know if he's the original creator of this or not. I'm just going to assume he is. But this is probably the most well-known, I would say probably well-used as well, method for drawing the human head that at least I'm aware of. I originally made the mistake, this is something for new artists especially to be careful of going and learning to draw from artists I liked. That's how I learned to draw. Don't want to do that. Reason being, it's an abstraction for reality. And you're already, and I'm quoting James O'Barr here, creator of The Crow, but if you're learning to draw based on someone else's abstraction of reality, you're just getting further and further away, and your stuff is not going to look the way you want. You're going to think you're doing a lot of cool techniques. You're sort of cheating the game, if you will. It's a lot of new artist thought process. There really is no cheating, especially at first, and you're going to sell yourself short and end up taking more time in the long run when you do like I did and have to go back and relearn a whole lot of things. And I'm actually still, we're always all learning, but I'm still having to relearn a few things. So just want to throw that sort of caution out there. Is like that this is why you come to things like this. This is why you do study anatomy, the fundamentals of it, and how things work. Excuse me, still dealing with some allergies here. So zoom in real quick. I have these diagrams put up, good little breakdowns to illustrate what we're going to be doing today. Breaking down of the cranium as a large circle in this case. So that's the way we're going to start out, is once again with your circle. Let me clean this up a little bit here. It's a circle with a jaw attached, or a sphere with a jaw attached. You want to keep things in your mind and on the paper, especially starting out, as simple as possible. Reality is complicated. The things we draw are very complicated, and it can be hard at first to look past all those details and simplify things. But that's what we're going to try and do today. So something as simple as this right here, that's what you could really work with. Now we're going to go through and actually get proper proportions and measurements here real quick. So let's go ahead and start out. We, same method. Start out with your basic sphere, your circle here, and we're going to find the middle line, the halfway point running down the face. Of course, always make sure the circle is as long as it is wide, because unless you have a stencil, we're not drawing perfect circles here. We'll find a middle line in a second, but you take your sphere, your imaginary sphere, and cut the side off. And I wanted to shade this in to just kind of illustrate that a little bit. But go ahead, and also if you'll notice, the tops and bottoms of that small circle fit within the larger sphere. It's not going from end to end. It's more about 3/4 of the size of the full sphere, roughly speaking. So it's not going to take up the entire side of that sphere. You're cutting off just a large chunk of it. Moving on, so you got the side of your head cut off. In a second, we'll find the middle line. If you look at the diagram here, you can kind of see that line running through the middle of the face. This will help keep your proportions in check. You want to take as much of the guesswork out of things as possible. So let's go in here. Find your middle line. It's running through. Let me just clean this up a little bit here. All right, decent middle line. And you want to imagine, really, that you're working with a ball, like say a tennis ball, and you got a piece of string wrapped around that tennis ball. So no matter what angle, what direction you move that tennis ball, that middle line is always going to stay in the same place. It moves with the rest of the tennis ball. So just, it's a nice mental way to imagine what we're working with here. So next we're going to split this side here, this side circle, into two halves. Keep your angles right. That line running through the middle will dictate our brow line. So if someone's looking up, that line needs to reflect it. If it's looking down, that line needs to reflect it. There's your brow line. Now, we've got our brow line built. Also, that ear, our ear fits into that lower right quadrant. So that's an easy measurement that, this method takes care of for you. Also, at the bottom of that line of that quadrant, that half right there is the same length measuring down that you can use for your jaw. Keep in mind when you put down that measurement for the jaw that you curve it around the sphere at the same angle as the rest of your lines. You don't want it curving down or curving up or just at a disproportionate angle. Got to make sure your lines, especially when you're building up your structure, are sound and fit within the same perspective. So we're going to go ahead and put in our jaw. The initial lines we put down to measure how low the chin goes, that's not our jaw. That's just a measurement tool, so no one gets tripped up. I'm going to draw a line straight down. This is going to help keep our chin measured right. So you can see that our left side of that chin is slightly smaller than our right side. And I'm going to go ahead and attach the rest of our jaw to it. And there we go. We start to have our jaw come out in perspective there. Raise this line straight up to kind of build the other side of the face up. And already we have, we can start to see the structure of the head coming through already. And we haven't even done a whole lot yet. So it's also a rather quick method as well. It's one thing I do like about it. If you wanted to mark the top of your forehead, kind of give you the idea of, that imaginary middle line of, it can help you find your eye line. Quick note on brows, drawing a more masculine brow here versus more feminine. Masculine tends to be harder edged, where feminine has more grace to it. So just something to keep in mind. It's just something that adds a little nuance to your characters. All right, so here we go. I'm going to build in our eye sockets and brow area. Complete our chin. And finish off the other one real quick. There we go. All right. Now you want to imagine, it's helpful also to think like a sculptor a little bit. Say you got this marble slab here through this quick sketch, and you can take and what does the sculptor do? He erases away, or he chisels away from that marble to start to build something out of that slab, a sort of structure. But he's not starting off with details of an eyeball immediately as soon as he starts chiseling away. No, he's building up. He technically taking away, but you get the point. He's working with the largest general structures first. So that's what we want to do. Go back in here. And, you might notice the top of the head, a little round. You can go ahead and level it off just a little bit. People's heads are a little bit flatter on the top, so that's, just something to keep in mind. You don't want to, even though we're using the sphere, it's just a general structure that we can then build off of. If you need to, you can measure your eye, nose, and mouth line. Same exact rules, just, it's just really the trick is that it's in perspective. That's the hardest part with this thing. So if you need to, take that middle line and you can draw it straight up. If that helps you to see a little bit better, and then kind of gives you where you can still mark stuff. Also, another note, the bottom of the ear also will generally give you the bottom of the nose measurement as well. So you can do either one. You can draw your middle line straight, or you can just run off the ear line. Again, these are all general measurements, so don't feel 100% bound to them all the time. Then we can go ahead and place our mouth in roughly halfway between the nose and bottom of the chin. I'll just keep it simple for now. And then we can start finishing off this brow just a little bit here. Let's see here. So like I said, yeah, things tend to be a little bit round looking at this stage. So, just nuances. Don't feel pressured to make everything perfect, especially when you're just learning something new. Really have 1 or 2 learning goals at a time, if that, and just take your time with it. The better you get at one particular thing, focusing on that one thing at a time, you're going to get better at it because of that singular focus, and you won't forget it either. You're not going to just lose it, as long as you keep up with some practice with it. Okay, I want to go in, just kind of draw over this a little bit with a pen, just to kind of help show what you can do using this structure, because obviously you wouldn't want to leave the head just like this. We can at least add a little bit of something a little, not completely finished, but a little bit more polished. So I'm just going to go in, detail some of the structure, and add a little bit of something nice to it. Again, this is where studying reference photos, studying pictures of real people's faces, or if you have the luxury, you can study real people in real life's faces as well, if they'll let you. This is where this will come in handy. You'll start to see commonalities between people's faces, and you'll start to notice interesting differences among certain people's faces. Then you can start to incorporate those in your own drawings, or even if you're drawing from photo reference, you still want to have this sort of library in your head, because you're not going to replicate reality 100%, and nor would you want to, at least in my opinion. I'm not the biggest fan of completely photorealistic art. It's just, if you wanted to do that, in my opinion, take a picture. We're artists. We interpret things the way only we can interpret them, in our subtly nuanced ways. So it's okay to let that, those blemishes, I guess you could call them, show, or those just little unique flares that we all bring to things, usually without even knowing it. So just gonna keep tidying this up here, and you can see I'm taking some liberties. I'm not sticking completely 100% to the initial structure, and I'm just kind of adding, just to help us see it a little bit better here. Add in a little bit of dimensionality to the forehead. My base head tends to be fairly heroic and muscular from all the years of drawing superhero characters and learning that. But again, practice all different types. Don't just draw the muscular characters or the whatever your bias is. Draw everything. Draw all kinds, all different shapes, all different densities. Okay, and you kind of see, we got something here. We got definitely something to keep building off of, keep adding more nuances. We haven't even added any lighting to this, and we have a decent little sketch coming around. So, all right, not bad for our first, head in this particular perspective. I do want to show you other angles, though. So we don't want to just draw one and leave it at that. I'll go ahead and draw it the opposite direction, and maybe we can finish up. I want to get a complete side profile done as well. Let's see, let's jump around here. So let's go on ahead. We'll have to build off. Where's our circle? Get that put in. Trying to make it a little bit more circular. Here we go. And I don't want to do, like I said, I don't want to do just the same angle. I do want to change things up. It's good to have a balanced understanding of things. So I noticed maybe this has something to do with how we favor our left or right hand, kind of a similar idea, but I noticed when you're learning, you tend to favor drawing people at certain angles or looking certain directions over one another, and it can be a real thing to get over, a real challenge to draw maybe the right eye as well as you draw the left eye or something like that, or hands, things left hand versus the right hand. It just be a little bit tricky. Okay, got our base cranium put in, got our jaw, let's measure that. Remember, keep that curve, same perspective. Notice how I lifted the chin up because the brow line is lifted up. So I want to keep that in line and in perspective with each other. Again, I'm not worrying about eyebrows. I'm worrying about just the solid fundamental structures of this thing. And I probably scooted that chin in just a little bit, but we can adjust it as we go. Add a little bit to that nose. All right. There we go. And kind of add a little bit, there we go, for the mouth. Keep just some pure dimensionality in there. Yeah, every now and again I'll indicate a little bit of a light source as I go. It just kind of helps me see things a little bit better. All right, place a neck in here, and looking up, that is a very tricky one. And if I were making a finished picture, I would probably still refer to a photo of someone looking up, just to double check, make sure I've got everything in line. Even if I'm pretty sure I do, I could, maybe tweak the eyes a little bit here and there, scooch that nose over, something like that. But using a photo reference will really help you pick apart, okay, what did I get right? What did I get a little bit off here and there? Kind of flatten out this head and the back part of it a little bit, connect it to the neck just right. Again, thick, muscular neck. So used to that with all the superheroes. It's a great way to tell age, by the way. It tends to be, if you have a thinner neck, you tend to be a little bit younger or extremely old. Thicker neck could be youthful, but you're probably, definitely indicates some sort of an adult. All right, let's go ahead, and before we wrap things up, do want to touch on the side profile. This can be, I've found that certain people I've heard really struggle with this. For some reason, I found it easier for some reason. I don't know if that's just me or not. Is it easier or harder for you? I don't know. Comment that. I would like to know, honestly, what people struggle with, because I find people struggle with all different things from each other. Some people just have different strengths and weaknesses. It's just interesting to me. But we're going to go ahead and start off with, again, basic circle. And we'll place the second circle, the indicator of the cut off side of the head, if you will. We're going to place that in the center of it. It's important to get that as dead center as you possibly can. And then we'll measure out our quadrants of that second circle. Again, notice I didn't obviously cover up the entire side of the head. Might have made it just a little bit small, in fact, but good enough. Got the quadrants. Here, I could place that ear right in there, and got our brow line to build up off of. Go ahead and add that here. Sometimes I like to extend it off the sphere just a little bit. And you can already start to see it taking shape. Place our jaw. I like to extend from the brow down to the chin, kind of indicate the curvature of the face. And there we go. Looking at this, a little bit small in that chin. Probably need to adjust that. Here we go. Let me fix that just a little bit. There we go. There we go. Okay. So now, let's kind of zoom in here, clean this up. Again, very simple, but you know, the beginnings of the structure of the head. It's starting to look more and more very fast. I'm like, okay, I can see it. Takes the guesswork out. That's what we need. All right, I want to measure the top of the head, measure down so I can get my eye line just right if I want to. You know, over time, you don't always have to use that measurement. You kind of know where it's at, but for the sake of this video, we're going to put that there, and it cuts through the eye completely in half. And notice how it sits back in the socket. It doesn't sit forward, doesn't sit right on the edge of the head. It sits back in the eye socket just a little bit. So that's a good little subtle detail to be able to include. Measure halfway down from my nose. Fill that in just a little bit. Maybe add a nostril here. And then go ahead and put in my mouth. I'm just going to flow it right off the nose and then just touch it right down to the chin. And there we go. Start to got most of a face here. I like the brow shadow. Sometimes that particular lighting scheme, it just always looks so cool, especially on like Batman or something. Okay, let me go in here. Let's see. Get rid of that. There we go. Okay. Just to kind of help us see this a little bit more clearly. This is a good stage where, you know, kind of, you got your, what's called the underdrawing done. Now, you don't have to jump if you're doing pencil and paper. You don't have to jump straight to ink in this stage. I mentioned in the first video, I use a 4H pencil first, and then I go back and use an HB lead pencil typically. And then I will, if I need to, I'll use a mechanical for some finer details. But usually after laying in the thicker forms and, you know, spotting my blacks, my shadows, I tend to go straight into the inking process. And just tidy this up a little bit. I don't like that neck. Let's see here. Put this in. Here we go. Okay. There you have it. Got the start of a face that you can start to work with. We're not going to worry about hair right now. Hair will be a separate video, separate tutorial. But yeah, I hope this is helpful. You know, it takes time to learn this kind of thing. But this would be a good stopping point here. Let me know what you'd like to learn. I'd like to move on to features like the eyes and nose. But we'll see you in the next one. Bye.